The gods are hidden in plain sight. Human beings have always struggled to understand the ways of the gods. Many times, when the sacred walks among us, it comes in forms that we do not recognize. Sometimes we fear it, sometimes we laugh at it, and sometimes we reject it completely. The stories of Christ and Mommy Water show us the great problem the gods face, how to reveal themselves to humans without being destroyed. In the story of the God's Dilemma, we see the mystery of Christ. He was both God and man. As God, he carried power and wisdom. As man, he carried weakness. People did not understand this, and because of their ignorance, they killed him. This shows us that humans often destroy what they cannot understand. When truth is revealed too clearly, the world feels threatened. Those who carry deep secrets of the spirit usually become targets of hatred. The story of the mystery of Mommy Water teaches another side of this lesson. Mommy Water was sent by the Lord of creation and destiny long before Christ. When she appeared, she showed only a half of her complete self. She looked like a beautiful woman, but instead of legs she had the tail of a fish or a snake. Some admired her, others feared her. In truth, she covered her full power so that humans would not be blinded by it. Her strange form was a test to see if people could look beyond appearances, but many failed. Both of these stories carry one clear message: the divine does not always appear in great glory. Sometimes it comes in weakness, sometimes in strange forms, sometimes in ways that look ordinary. Divine messengers walk among us, but most times we do not see them. We laugh when we should listen. We reject what we should welcome. We destroy what we should protect. The struggle of mankind is not whether God exists. The struggle is whether we are ready to see the divine when it appears near us. To do this, we must train not just our minds, but also our hearts and inner eyes. We must learn to respect what looks strange, and to guard what carries mystery. If we fail, we will repeat the mistakes of the past, mocking, rejecting, or even destroying the sacred when it comes close. The divine is still with us, hidden in plain sight. Sometimes in the form of man, sometimes in the form of woman, sometimes in forms we cannot explain. The gods continue to speak. The question is, are we listening? I am Chinoza Ikioma. Listen to part 2 of this lesson.
The responsibilities of the priest and priestesses. In every community, there are people marked by the Spirit. They are chosen by powers greater than themselves, and with that calling comes a weight of responsibility. Those who are joined to Mommy Water, the goddess of the waters, carry such a mark. They may be called her priests and priestesses, and to them the goddess entrusts sacred duties. The first responsibility of the priest and priestesses is secrecy. Spiritual truths are not for every ear. Those who walk with the goddess must guard their mysteries and protect their knowledge. To reveal too much is to expose what is holy to mockery, and to bring danger both to oneself and to the sacred. The second responsibility is purity of the sacred places. Temples, shrines, and altars are not ordinary spaces. They are houses of power, and they must be kept free from noise, corruption, and idle use. Only those who are appointed by the goddess should enter or serve there. In this way, the priests and priestesses show respect to both the spirit and the community. The third responsibility is humility and discretion. Those gifted with spiritual power must not flaunt it or use it to threaten others. They must show love, patience, and respect to all. Power is not for pride or destruction, it is for guidance, healing, and harmony. The fourth responsibility is harmony with the community. The priests and priestesses must never let their practices bring conflict or fear among their people. Instead, they should live in such a way that others see peace, kindness, and balance in them. In this way, their calling becomes a blessing, not a burden, to their society. The lesson is clear: to be a priest or priestess of the goddess is not a reason for boasting, but a call to live with wisdom. Spiritual power must be hidden, guarded, and used with care. The one who is called by Mommy Water is not greater than the community, but a servant of both the divine and the people. To fail in this is to dishonor the goddess. To succeed is to walk in the true path of the spirit. I am Chinoza Ikioma, and this is the teaching I bring to you today. Make sure you listen to part 3 of this lesson, where the mysteries will be made even clearer. Embracing the depths of the spirit. The spiritual journey is not simple. Those who are called by Ezanwani, the goddess of the waters, must learn to embrace both the light and the shadow within themselves. For just as water can be calm and life-giving, it can also be stormy and destructive, so also is the nature of those tied to her mysteries. The first lesson is balance. Within every priest and priestess of the goddess lies both good and evil, strength and weakness, light and darkness. To deny one side is to fall into ignorance, to embrace both sides with wisdom is to walk in truth. We must strive for goodness, but also recognize that darkness has its place when justice and defense are required. The second lesson is depth. Our ancestors once said, "The world is deep." This does not only describe the earth itself but also the mysteries hidden within life. True wisdom is to understand that existence cannot be explained by surface appearances alone. Behind every struggle lies a spiritual cause, and behind every blessing lies a mystery. The third lesson is knowledge. The sacred text reminds us, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." Many today suffer not because the gods have abandoned them, but because they live in ignorance. They cannot see the root of their troubles, especially those born from spiritual bondage. It is knowledge that opens the eyes and gives freedom. Through the ways of our tradition, we seek to guide seekers into freedom and understanding. We dig deep into the mysteries, not to boast, but to bring healing, direction, and solutions. This path is not for the lazy or the proud, but for those ready to embrace both discipline and humility. On my own journey, I first became aware of the presence of Ezanwani through my mother during my childhood. My mother was a powerful priestess. Though I did not fully understand them, the signs were clear. The goddess had already marked my path. With time, her presence became stronger, guiding me not only toward knowledge but also toward comfort and direction in the midst of challenges. Our connection to the Supreme Being remains the foundation. Without it, we are tossed about like a boat in stormy waters. With it, we can face trials, understand our mysteries, and find peace in the guidance of the goddess who walks with us. I am Chinoza Ikioma, and this is the lesson I share with you today. Make sure you listen to part 4 of this lesson, where the journey with the goddess will be taken even deeper. Unveiling the path of Odinola. The world we live in is filled with struggles and negative experiences. These experiences come not only from the nature of life itself but also from the will of the Supreme Being and the goddesses of the universe, Mommy Water, the goddess of water, and Ola, the goddess of the earth. To survive and make sense of this earthly battleground, one must build a conscious relationship with the Supreme Being. The true path to this relationship is spirituality. It is important to understand that spirituality is not the same as religion. Religion is a system of rules, dogmas, and doctrines, often created to control society and force people into uniform belief. Spirituality, on the other hand, is a living connection between human beings, the divine, nature, and the ancestors. Spirituality is freedom. Religion is control. Among the Igbo people, there exists a true spirituality that has been here since ancient times. This is Odinola. Odinola is not a religion. It is not a man-made system. Instead, it is the natural way of life designed by the Supreme Being and guided by the goddesses, Mommy Water, the goddess of water, and Ola, the goddess of the earth, together with the ancestors. Many people today are familiar with religions such as Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, or Ekanka. Each of these represents a religion, and those who follow them identify themselves by those religious names. A Christian will say his faith is Christianity, a Muslim will say his is Islam, and a follower of Ekanka will declare Ekanka. But for the Igbo, there is Odinola, and Odinola is not religion, it is spirituality. It is the hidden and ancient path that binds us to our roots. Odinola is more than a belief system. It is a covenant between the people and the land, a spiritual way that connects human beings to the Supreme Being, to Mommy Water the water goddess, to honor the earth goddess, and to the ancestors. It is a way of life that teaches balance, harmony, and respect for both the seen and unseen worlds. Unlike religions that were imported into our land, Odinola was born out of the soil beneath our feet, the rivers that flow through our villages, and the ancestral voices that continue to guide us. This ancient path has remained hidden for many because it is not always openly taught. Yet, for those who seek, Odinola reveals itself as the foundation upon which true spiritual knowledge rests. It is a sacred thread that ties the living to the ancestors and ensures that no one is cut off from the source of their being. To rediscover Odinola is to return to the wisdom of the ancestors. It is to understand that the path to the Supreme Being does not require abandoning one's heritage but rather embracing it fully. Through Odinola, people can find freedom from ignorance, strength in times of struggle, and peace in the balance of life. In this way, Odinola is not just spirituality, it is the root of our identity, the keeper of our culture, and the spiritual foundation. Unveiling the essence of Odinola. The ancient path to the Supreme Being has been known across many nations, and among the Igbo people it carries a sacred name, Odinola, sometimes called Odinoni. This name is not just a label, it embodies the wisdom, laws, and practices that sustain the spiritual life of the people. In Odinola, the importance of names cannot be overlooked, for the name of a path carries within it the very essence of its teachings and beliefs. Odinola is often mistaken for mere tradition or culture, but in truth, it is far greater. It is the original spirituality of the Igbo people, woven into the fabric of their existence by the Supreme Being, guided by the goddesses of water and earth, Mummy Water, and preserved by the ancestors. Unlike imported religions, which rely on doctrine and rules, Odinola is a living connection to the divine, to nature, and to the unseen forces that guide humanity. In the wisdom of our elders, Odinola is understood as the ancient spirituality of the people. It is a sacred path that links each person to the Supreme Being through Chi, the personal spirit, God, or goddess given to every individual. Within this system, the cosmic forces of deities, spirits, and human beings work together in harmony. Their purpose is to guide human beings through spiritual growth, purification, and ultimate enlightenment. This is why Odinola is called the highest form of spirituality. It connects the visible and the invisible, the human and the divine. It is not about power for its own sake but about truth, knowledge, and freedom from ignorance. Those who follow Odinola learn that their path is not to dominate others but to purify themselves and become a vessel of light for their families and communities. Unveiling the essence of Odinola. As seekers walk the path of Odinola, it is important to make a clear distinction between true spirituality and sorcery. The highest spirituality in Odinola does not dwell in charms, talismans, or manipulation of others for selfish ends. It is not about controlling the destinies of people or using hidden knowledge to harm. Those things belong to the shadows, not the light. True Odinola rises above such practices. It is a way of balance, harmony, and order. It teaches us that the power given by the Supreme Being and supported by Mummy Water, the Earth Goddess, and the ancestors is not to be wasted on greed or destruction. Instead, it must be used to uplift, to heal, and to bring peace to the community. Those who embrace Odinola must remember that their strength lies not in fear or manipulation but in knowledge and self-purification. The goal of Odinola is to lead the human being closer to truth, closer to light, and closer to the divine presence that dwells in all things. By walking in this wisdom, one discovers that Odinola is not only spirituality, it is the highest form of spirituality, given to guide the Igbo people and all who seek truth. I am Chinoza Ikeoma. Listen to next part of this. Here are the difference between sirens and mermaids. Do you really know the difference between a mermaid and a siren? Most people think they're the same, but the truth is, they are two very different, very mysterious beings. And when we dive into ancient mythology and even the Book of Enoch, the story of the sirens becomes even more shocking. In Greek mythology, sirens were not half women, half fish like mermaids. They were half bird, half woman creatures who lured sailors to their deaths with their hypnotic songs. Sitting on rocky islands, their voices were so enchanting that ships would crash on the rocks, never to be seen again. Most depictions of sirens were female, but some ancient texts describe male versions too, called demons. Their very name sounds like a demon, which gives us a clue about how dangerous they were believed to be. But who were the sirens in the Bible's hidden text, the Book of Enoch? Here the story is very different. In chapter 19, the archangel Uriah reveals to Enoch that the women who tempted the fallen watcher angels would themselves be transformed into sirens. Their transformation was seen as a curse from God, yet, when you think about it, was it really a curse? If the great flood was coming, wouldn't being turned into a siren, a creature of the sea, actually allow them to survive? This raises deep questions about whether these women became cursed beings or survivors of divine punishment. Over time, history blurred the lines. The birdwoman sirens of Greek lore eventually fused with the fishwoman mermaids of folklore until the two became nearly identical in popular imagination. But originally, they were not the same at all. One lived on rocky islands with wings, the other in the ocean with a tail. So now you know, sirens weren't always mermaids. They were dangerous, mystical beings tied not only to Greek mythology but also to the mysterious Book of Enoch. What do you think? Were sirens truly cursed women of the watchers, or powerful survivors of the flood? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss another deep dive into hidden history, mythology, and the mysteries of the spirit world. Most people think mermaids and sirens are the same thing, but they are not. In Greek mythology, sirens were half woman, half bird creatures who sang sailors to their deaths. Some were even male, called demons, which sounds a lot like a demon. But in the Book of Enoch, the story changes. It says the women who tempted the fallen angels were cursed and became sirens. Was that really a curse though? If the great flood was coming, maybe turning into sea beings actually helped them survive. Over time, history mixed them up, and sirens became confused with mermaids. But originally, one had wings on rocky islands, the other had tails in the ocean. So, are sirens cursed women? Or survivors of the flood? What do you think?
We have already seen how the siren began as a winged woman in Greece and later became tied to the curse of the watchers in the Book of Enoch. But the story doesn't end there. In fact, sirens and their oceanic sisters, the mermaids, appear in traditions all over the world, always carrying the same mixture of beauty, danger, and mystery. Let's first look at how the Greeks themselves evolved the image of the siren. In the earliest centuries, sirens were almost monstrous, bird claws, wings, and human faces. But by the classical period, their appearance softened. They became more human-looking, sometimes even drawn entirely as women, with only symbolic wings at their sides. Why they change? Because stories change to match culture. The more people feared the unknown dangers of the sea, the more sirens transformed into beings who belonged to the waters rather than the air. By the Middle Ages, Christian Europe began to interpret sirens as symbols of lust and temptation. In church carvings and manuscripts, you will often see mermaids holding combs and mirrors. The comb symbolized vanity, while the mirror represented pride. These sirens were not just myths anymore, they were moral lessons. Priests used their image to warn men of women's beauty, which could lead to sin and destruction. This shows us how mythology was reshaped into morality tales, keeping the core idea of the siren but giving her a new meaning. But the story of sirens does not belong to Europe alone. Across the seas in Africa, there is the powerful tradition of Mummy Water, a water spirit often depicted as a beautiful woman with a fishtail or sometimes a snake. She is seductive, mysterious, and deeply spiritual. Some believe she brings wealth, healing, and blessings, while others say she can also bring destruction to those who fail to honor her properly. Doesn't this sound very much like the double-sided nature of the siren? It is possible that as European sailors traveled to Africa, their tales of mermaids merged with African traditions of water spirits, creating new blended forms of the myth. Yet, African spirituality had always known about these beings. In Igbo cosmology, for instance, the Miri spirits dwell in rivers and oceans, powerful and beautiful, often demanding respect. They, too, are associated with both blessing and danger. If we connect this back to the Book of Enoch, one could argue that these water spirits across cultures might be fragments of the same ancient story, remnants of those who were transformed during the days of the Watchers. Now let's return to the Book of Enoch. If the women of the angels became sirens, then what did that mean for their souls? Were they forever bound to the seas as half-human spirits, or did they carry on as part of the demonic order? Uriel says they were transformed and cursed until the day of judgment. That means sirens were not just physical beings, they were spiritual entities, marked for punishment, yet still roaming the world until the final reckoning. Think about what this means. A siren is not only a creature of myth, she is a reminder of rebellion. She is the living sign of a time when the boundaries between heaven and earth were broken. And every culture, in its own way, kept that memory alive, whether as bird women in Greece, cursed women in Hebrew texts, or mermaids and water goddesses in other lands. Now let us step into the symbolic meaning of the siren. On one level, she is temptation. She calls men with a sweet voice, offering secrets, pleasures, or promises only to destroy them. On another level, she is survival. She lives through floods, storms, and divine punishment. She endures even when the world is cleansed. This duality, both destroyer and survivor, is what makes her so powerful as a spiritual symbol. In psychological terms, some say the siren represents the hidden desires of the human soul, the longing for forbidden knowledge, for dangerous beauty, for things that lie beyond the boundary of safety. This is why the siren song is always irresistible. It is not just a melody, it is the call of our own secret desires pulling us away from reason. And yet, sirens are also tied to wisdom. Remember in Homer's Odyssey, the sirens didn't just sing love songs. They promised Odysseus knowledge, hidden truths of the world, secrets of the gods, things no mortal should know. So the siren is not only a temptress, she is also a gatekeeper of wisdom. The question is, can you hear her song and life to tell the tale? For most men, the answer was no. For Odysseus, tied to the mast, the answer was yes, but only because he could not act on his desire. Now let's come forward into the modern world. Do sirens still exist in our imagination? Absolutely. Every movie, every painting of a mermaid or seductive sea spirit is echoing the ancient siren myth. From Hans Christian Andersen's A Little Mermaid to Disney's modern adaptation, the siren's face is still with us. But notice how she has been softened. In modern stories, the mermaid often wants to become human, to love, to live among us. The danger is downplayed, the destruction almost forgotten. But if you go into folklore, into old sailor stories, African river legends, or even Caribbean traditions, you will find that the darker side of the siren has never disappeared. Fishermen still tell of strange women seen on rocks, of voices that call across the water, of blessings that turn into curses. The line between myth and reality is thin when it comes to the sea. So perhaps the question is not, did sirens exist, but what do sirens represent? Are they divine punishment, forbidden survivors, spiritual guardians of hidden wisdom, or temptresses that embody the dangers of desire? Or are they all of these at once? The truth is that the siren is bigger than any single story. She is part of Greek myth, biblical tradition, African spirituality, medieval morality, and modern entertainment. She is the perfect example of how one idea, born thousands of years ago, can transform across cultures, yet remain powerful in every age. And maybe, just maybe, the siren's greatest mystery is this: she never dies. From the days of Enoch to the Odyssey, from medieval cathedrals to Hollywood movies, the siren continues to sing. And as long as we are drawn to her voice, her legend will never fade.
and each ancestral
So,
presence
what do you
serves a
think?
purpose in maintaining
Are
cosmic
sirens cursed
harmony.
beings who survived the flood?
Understanding their roles
Are they
allows
fallen spirits
practitioners
of
to
the
live
Watcher's
in balance
wives?
with both the visible
Or
and
are they
unseen
divine
worlds.
water guardians remembered
By
in every
honoring these
culture?
beings, individuals
Share your thoughts
align
in the
themselves with the
comments,
spiritual
because this
laws of
mystery is far
Odinola
deeper
and
than
gain
the ocean
insight into
itself.
the deeper workings of
And
life
if you
and
enjoyed
creation.
this journey, make sure to
Recognition
like,
of deities and
subscribe,
spirits
and stay
is
with
not an
me,
act of
because in the
worshiping the
next
supreme
video,
beings
we'll dive
because,
even deeper
but
into the
rather an
hidden origins
acknowledgement
of
of the
mermaids,
manifestations of
sirens,
divine
and the
power that
spirits
guide
of the
human
waters.
existence. The supreme being remains the ultimate source, beyond all form and limitation, while deities and ancestors act as intern. Understanding the essence of ancestors and human. In the exploration of Odinola, a deeper understanding of human and spiritual existence emerges through the study of ancestors and human life. Ancestors represent the revered elders whose lives embody justice, morality, and the preservation of cultural traditions. They serve as guardians of wisdom and pillars within the community, ensuring that the knowledge and values of the past are transmitted to future generations. These spiritual elders are honored not only for their earthly contributions but also for their continuing guidance in the spiritual realm. Spiritually, ancestral spirits, both female and male, hold a sacred place within the third plane of existence known as the land of the ancestors. In this realm, they coexist eternally with the inner spirit, the deities, and the supreme being, attaining the status of divine beings. Their presence represents the continuity of life and the enduring influence of those who have walked the path before, offering guidance, protection, and insight to the living. The human being embodies the unity of body and soul and represents the deep nature of human existence. Each individual carries the essence of life itself, symbolizing both beauty and complexity. The meaning of human life reflects this sacred value, emphasizing that life is precious and meaningful. Humans are entrusted with the task of preserving and continuing life, playing an essential role in maintaining harmony within the universe. The body and soul are intertwined, inseparable in their function, and together form the foundation of human experience. Understanding the role of the ancestors and the value of human life is central to living in accordance with the principles of Odinola. Respect for ancestral wisdom and recognition of the worth of human existence are essential for spiritual growth and alignment with the cosmic order. The guidance of deities and the Supreme Being, along with the insight provided by the ancestors, enables humans to navigate the complexities of existence, fostering both personal and communal harmony. By honoring the sacred roles of the ancestors and embracing the essence of human life, individuals acknowledge the beauty and complexity of existence within the wider cosmic order. This understanding strengthens the connection between the living and the spiritual world, deepening spiritual awareness and cultivating wisdom. Through this journey, humans are guided toward a fuller understanding of divine truth, spiritual fulfillment, and the principles that sustain life in harmony with the universe. Embracing the mystery of divine existence. In learning about the spirit world, we find many truths about the soul, about coming back to life through birth, and about the power of both male and female gods. These truths help us see that the world of spirits is wide and full of meaning. The soul grows and changes through a journey called reincarnation. This means a soul can return to the world through another body. But a soul cannot come back without a body to live in. The goodness of a soul is shaped by how the body and spirit work together, by how long life lasts, and by the changes the soul makes while living on earth. Some people believe there is only a male god. This is not complete truth, because there is also the female side of God. Many old books, like the Bible and the Quran, use names that show God is not just one but many, both male and female. In the book of Genesis, it says, God made humans in his own image, male and female he made them. This shows that God has two sides, the father side and the mother side. The world is kept in balance by these two powers. To understand this is to respect both the male and the female face of God. When we accept this balance, we grow in wisdom and see more clearly the secret of life and creation. Distinguishing between the Supreme Being and the personal spirit. The Supreme Being is the source of all life, beyond beginning and end. No shrine, no idol, and no image can contain him. He is the fountain of creation, the eternal power that sustains the universe, greater than all and untouched by limits or form. The personal spirit, known as Chi, is not the same as the Supreme Being, yet it cannot exist without him. Chi is the spark of the divine placed in every human being, a guide, a guardian, and a witness to each person's journey. While the Supreme Being governs the universe, Chi directs the path of the individual. Every human being carries a Chi that is unique and unrepeatable. It is through Chi that one connects with the Supreme Being, and through Chi that one's steps are guided. To neglect Chi is to neglect the personal covenant with the divine. This is why the elders say, if a person agrees, his Chi agrees. For the Chi works with each individual in every choice they make. Confusion arises when people mistake Chi for the Supreme Being, as though the spark within were the same as the infinite source. The ocean is not the drop, though the drop carries the essence of the ocean. Such misunderstanding weakens spiritual foundations, for it collapses the vast mystery of Odinola into a single misinterpreted idea. To walk in harmony with Odinola, one must honor both truths, the Supreme Being, who is above all and beyond all, and Chi, the personal spirit within. One is the great river, the other is the cup of water drawn from it. In understanding the difference, one sees the fullness of divine reality, the universal and the personal, the eternal and the inner guide. To know this truth is to walk in light, in balance with the wisdom of the ancestors, and in harmony with the sacred order of the universe.